Hey guys, welcome back to Cocal Knives, back for another knife review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kershaw Concierge. This is a knife that I never really took the time to check out in the past, and after getting it in hand and kind of test driving it for a little bit now, not going to lie, I'm a little impressed. So we'll get over, everything I like and don't like about it. There's a lot that I do like. Little bit that I think is a little strange, and you'll see that in a second. So without further ado, we will get into the technical specs, or at least the stuff that I care about. All right, guys, so we're going to go over the quick specs, just the main stuff here. Blade steel, we're looking at 8CR13 MOV. Blade length is 3¼ inches. Blade thickness is 0.11 or just under 3 millimeters. The weight is 4.3 ounces, so maybe a little bit on the heavy side for this size, but it's not too bad. G10, it's got this slightly contoured G10 handle scales and liner lock. And manual flipper on KVT bearings. The pocket clip, and this is where it may get a little strange for some of you. It's right hand carry, tip up only. So we'll get into what I think about this pocket clip a little bit later on. This was the part that I was a little bit skeptical about at first, but you'll see. Technical specs out of the way, we're going to get into the blade and what I do and don't like. Alright guys, let's go over the blade. Not a whole lot going on here, but what there is going on I do like. They kind of kept it a little bit simple on this one. 3¼ inch blade, which I do like. It's the perfect sweet spot for everyday carry. Big enough to do pretty much anything that you're going to throw at it for everyday carry, but not so big that it's going to be, cumbersome to use or, overkill. Like if you work like in a corporate setting or like a retail, whatever, it's not going to be, threatening or anything like that. It cuts well, so it's not thick. It's not terribly thin either. This is a good... Like I said before, I do like kind of like right around that 3 millimeter blade thickness. It's hollow ground, so that also helps get you thinner at the edge. Not that I would say this is like precision ground or anything, but I guess we'll talk about that while we're here. The grind on the blade is somewhat even, so not bad, especially for budget Kershaw. The coating is the titanium nitride that Kershaw usually uses. I honestly don't really love it, but with the 8CR13 MOV steel, it can help with rusting or spotting or corrosion. So yeah, it is what it is. I would really like to see what this knife would have looked like with just a satin blade finish. I think that really would have looked badass, but I guess we'll never know. Other things, I like the looks. It's a pretty practical blade shape and pretty simple design. So naturally, I like the way that it looks. I wish that they would have just carried that straight all the way. I don't necessarily care for the little drop here, but I still like it just because you get the consistent, curve of the blade all the way to the tip. There's nothing weird going on. It's just fairly simple. So I do like that. Also, the edge goes all the way back to the plunge. So if you get that weird thing where the edge isn't quite sharpened all the way back, at least you can work on correcting that fairly easily. With that about covers everything on the blade. Like I said, there's not a whole lot going on here. At least design-wise, it's fairly simple, but that's a good thing in my book. So I do really like that. Don't really care for overly crazy designs. So this is a win in my book, at least. Round one blade definitely goes to this knife. We'll go over the handle next and see what I like there. All right, guys, so now we'll go over the handle. This is where there's the most going on, I would say. A lot of good, a lot of good. A little weird, but good. First, we'll go over the handle scales. So it's like a contour G10 handle scales on each side, which looks good. It's smooth, so no crazy texturing. I really like the way that it looks, especially with the pivot hardware. Pretty simple, nothing over the top, no crazy designs. So I think the overall look of even the handle is simple but really nice. I wish more companies would do like a smooth machine G10 like this, even if it's just got the really, really mild contouring on that. I think it looks so good. Got your lanyard hole so you can put your jewelry on there if you want. Back spacer, pretty much the same as a lot of these budget Kershaws. It's just like GRN or FRN, whatever plastic you want to call it. Would have been nice to see like a G10 back spacer here, or even just, maybe a couple standoffs. But that's kind of the look they were going for. It's liner lock, and these liners are pretty thick, honestly. And I do not believe they're skeletonized at all. And that's partially where that weight's coming in. So 4.3 ounce weight on the knife. May seem a little hefty for what you're getting. I have a 3¼ inch blade. That's kind of one of the first things you notice. It's got a real solid feel. It's on the upper end of the weight. I would say that I would allow this size of knife for, the package that you're getting. But even this weight makes it feel more solid. So I noticed the weight, but I kind of like it. Like I said, it gives it a really solid feel, which is not something you typically get from these knives. So I personally like that. I know some people are gonna maybe gawk at the weight for the blade size and what it is, but I do enjoy it. This is going to be the thing that most people are going to want to see, going to want to know about. It's the pocket clip. You'll see it's recessed fully into the handle. I was really skeptical about this at first. I didn't know what to think. I thought it would be kind of disastrous, but honestly, it works pretty well. You wouldn't think so, because you think like, oh, how am I going to get my jeans in there or whatever? But when you're putting it in, you're kind of, you don't even have to really make a conscious effort to do it, but the material of your pants just kind of catches in on the pocket clip and kind of just goes in by itself. So this works a lot better than you would think by looking at it. It's only right hand carry, tip up, but for me it's not an issue because that's how I carry my knives. But lefties, out of luck. They couldn't do this on both sides anyways, just because you can see they have these huge pieces milled out so that pocket will go in and pocket rests in the second part. If they did it so it's reversible, you just have this huge chunks missing out of this side, and it would completely ruin the look of the knife. You could argue that why not just throw a simple pocket clip on and just have it be reversible and just make it like any other normal knife. I don't know. That's what they were going for here. Wanted to do something a little bit innovative, maybe. This side looks off, obviously, compared to this side, but I think it's kind of cool. And like I said, it works well. So I wouldn't if that looks so bad to you that it makes you not want it, then that's fair. I could totally understand where you would come from by saying that. To me, just kept it a little bit of an open mind and decided to try it out, especially 'cause I'm going to make a video about it. So of course I'm going to try it out and tell you guys what I think, but it works really well. Honestly, it really does. Yeah, that about covers it. That's really the main thing that I wanted to talk about, is that pocket clip. Give you guys a little bit more closer looks. It lays super flat. I mean, it's nice when you're holding it, because I mean, you feel that a little bit just because it's the only thing pretty much protruding from the handle. But when you're holding it, it feels like you're holding a knife without a pocket clip, and that's really refreshing. Pretty cool feeling, not feeling it but still knowing you have a pocket clip. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like I said, everything about this knife, I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I do, but this part really surprised me in a good way. So with that out of the way, now we're going to move on to action and fit and finish. All right, guys, action and fit and finish. Honestly, another category that kind of surprised me. So it's manual flipper on KVT bearings. I honestly didn't really think it was going to be anything special, and honestly, it really isn't anything special. But for the price point, the action is super good. Super good. Probably better than most Kershaws I've ever handled. Even better than the Natrix, I would say. For Kershaw and most knives in this price point, this is one of the best, in my opinion. And maybe it's just this specific example that I have, but if most or all Kershaw Concierges are like this, then that's insane. So it's a flipper. You've got a little bit of jimping on the flipper tab. Honestly, it doesn't really help too much because it's kind of far in there, but the detent is dialed in perfectly. I would say it's like medium to hard. You definitely can feel the detent on there, and when you flip it, the blade flies out, deploys every time. It's not like fall shut. The blade, it doesn't slide back in. You gotta make it go back into the handle. But the actual flipping action is sweet and super reliable. Feels smooth. It feels good when it flips. I mean, it really flies out and locks up the blade. And that's like an addicting flip right there. This is one of those knives where you could just sit there and just flip it over and over and over again and annoy the hell out of your wife, girlfriend, whoever, boyfriend, husband, I don't know who you are. But yeah, the flipping action is really good. As far as fit and finish goes, just in general, everything looks to be standard. The machining on the G10 looks, even and not ass. Sometimes, like on the edges, you'll see they're like uneven or like just kind of machined poorly. Not really on this one. I haven't seen anything that was like out of the ordinary. Blade is centered and no play. At least not in the example that I got. So blade flips really well. Blade is centered and no blade play. I'm pretty impressed. I really like it. Couple that with the fact that everything seems to be machined right. Yeah, for this price point, I have no complaints actually am, in its favor. So I guess we'll go to overall miscellaneous comments, and that'll be it. All right, guys. Overall miscellaneous comments, closing statements. Honestly, this knife surprised me in a lot of ways. For the price point, which is $37.95 at the time of this recording, I think that's pretty fair. It's kind of on the higher end of what you would see with most typical Kershaw knives, but I think it's warranted. And honestly, they probably could potentially charge a little bit less for this knife, but it is a collaboration with Dmitry Sinkevich, and they probably have to charge a little bit more so Mr. Sinkevich can get his cut, which is fine by me. But yeah, if this was like a in-house Kershaw design, first of all, I'd be impressed if they were to design something like this. But also, yeah, they probably could have charged even less for it. But like I said, even at the $37.95 price, dude, this has me super stoked. This is really good. I was really impressed by this knife. If you don't mind the weight, I would say that would probably be the main thing somebody would complain about, other than the strange pocket clip. Those are the two things. If you can get over the weight, and it's not heavy, 4.3 ounces is not heavy, but it's a little up there for this size. And the pocket clip, if you can go into this with an open mind and give it a try, then I would say 150% get this knife. Give it a shot at least. The design is really nice. And on top of that, Kershaw did a good job of executing. So that's it. That's what I think. Very surprised, very happy with it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys have one and it is this good, or you're just as impressed with it than I am, let me know. And then, as always, if this is your first time on the channel or not, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and yeah, we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.